Welcome to World Travel Made Easy with Itinerary Boss, the podcast for busy professionals, entrepreneurs, and business owners who want to travel smarter, save money, and plan unforgettable trips without the stress. I'm Ross, your host and the founder of Itinerary Boss. I spent a decade building a career in healthcare, software, and medical device sales while planning both personal and business trips across more than 20 countries. Whether it was group getaways with friends, couples trips, or just mapping out business territories, I became the go-to person for saving money on flights, organizing those logistics, and using points to elevate the experience. Now, as an entrepreneur and business owner, I help others do the same by showing you how to travel better using points, smart planning, and those proven strategies. Each week, we bring you expert guests, step-by-step tutorials on points and miles, and real-world itineraries that we've used to help you plan with confidence. Whether it's using points to travel better, exploring a new destination, or just learning how to maximize your spending, we've got you covered. Before we dive in, go ahead and grab one of our free tools in the show notes. One, the points and miles cheat sheet that'll help you get started earning and redeeming points to save thousands on travel, or the stress-free travel toolkit that includes a budget guide, packing checklist, and planning tips to save you time and hassle. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or busy professional looking to choose your next credit card or get help maximizing your everyday spending for rewards and booking free travel, book a free one-on-one consultation. You can find the link within the show notes or head over to itineraryboss.com. And if this episode helps you, please share it with a friend or family member, follow the show, and leave a 5-star review. It's the best way that helps us grow. Now, let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to another episode of World Travel Made Easy with Itinerary Boss. Excited to have you all listening in today, and we're going to dive into everything Spain. We're going to cover mainly Barcelona and Madrid, since those are the two cities that I've been to in Spain. But also, we'll just make you aware how accessible some of the other islands and places in southern Spain are from the main hubs. So I've been to Barcelona two times. I've been once for 6 days, and I've been another time for 4 days. The time that I went back in 2018, I went over the summer, and then I went in 2016 and went in April. So have gone in the shoulder season and then have also gone in peak July season. So gotten to experience both. Have gotten to experience a couple different things and activities. So excited to share those with you. And the reason I wanted to dive into this episode is not only to share my experiences, lessons learned, but also I get asked a lot around, hey, I want to do my first international trip. Spain's on, at the top of my list. Where should I go? What should I do? What did you like? What maybe should I not do or should I avoid? So I want to dive into that. And it is one of the more accessible countries from the States, just from the East Coast. I mean, there's a ton of direct flights that you can get over there, whether you're paying cash for a cheaper flight or whether you're paying points. So we're going to dive into that. We'll also do a more points-driven use case in a later episode. This one I just wanted to dial in and cover, what to do over there, focus more on the itinerary side. But I'm going to share my screen. So first, when we start to think about getting over to Spain, Madrid, you're going to find more flights. I'm flying out of Charlotte, so if I were searching from a cash price, this is what I'd be searching. I'm searching in August, so that price is probably gonna be a little bit more, but I can come down here on Google Flights and start to see, it isn't too bad of a flight if I'm starting to pay, in cash. It's not crazy, but you also have, so one other thing too is you want to have Points Path. So that is another great extension that you definitely want to download. So you can go here, you just download the free extension. And what that's going to do is that's going to show you the different prices that it's going to do that comparison. So we'll come back. Usually it's about 60 days. So we'll do August to August. So Points Path will give us, right? So what you're going to see is points versus cash, which is great because if you're newer to the points and miles game, this is going to show you, hey, this is when you should use cash, this is when you should use points. We like to try to get 2 cents per point when doing these type of things. So, if you were to um, do this, right? What does that mean? It would be more around 40,000 points. So I like Points Path because it's very simple if you're just getting started and it shows you, do I use cash or do I use points? And obviously you can mess around with it. For the free version, it's 60 days out. But just go download that and that'll give you different options for when you're doing that. And that'll work not only for international, that'll work for any flight you're doing. So if you're doing just a quick, easy domestic hop, I love that as a very, beginner intermediate tool. And it can get to more advanced, but just getting started in points and miles, that's going to be a really good tool for you to use. So starting there, you can search the cash prices, on Google Flights. You're going to see as you get more into the September, October timeframe, these flights are going to dwindle down and be a little bit cheaper. So these aren't terrible, right? You're probably paying, sometimes flying domestically, if you're flying across the country, sometimes flights are $400 or $500. So getting over to Madrid in, 7 hours, 8 hours, not bad in economy if you're paying that. There's also, if you're flying out of Charlotte, they do have, and just some of the other East Coast places, they do have some good flights on Iberia, which is part of the One World Alliance. And if you're like, what does all of this mean? I don't know what these alliances are. Go check out our free points and miles cheat sheet. It really will break down, what are some of these transfer partners and things like that. Because our goal, right, is to help you travel for pretty much pennies on the dollar and almost free besides taxes and fees by using points and miles. So that's something you'll definitely want to check out. And then we'll come over to seats.aero. So this is one other tool that I like to use. So if you are doing points and miles, we'll dive more into it deeper, but this will tell you, right, like what are some of the ways to get over there for some of these dates. And what we did is we just did American Airlines, all hubs, Madrid and Barcelona. And you can see getting over from the East Coast, and even like Dallas Fort Worth is pretty easy direct. So you can get from, if you're going to Madrid, you can get, they're direct from Philly, JFK, Chicago, Charlotte, Atlanta, Miami. So there's a lot of, especially on American. And then when we do our more deeper dive into the points and miles and some of those transfer partners and how to book that. Hey, I wanted to take a quick break to say thank you so much for tuning into the show. The only way the show grows is through listeners like you helping us share it. So if you're enjoying the show, it'd mean the world to me if you hit that 5-star rating, shared it with a friend or family member who's ready to travel more, save money, or just needs a little bit more inspiration and that nudge. And if you're posting about it on Instagram, go ahead and tag Itinerary Boss, and we'll make sure to reshare it and shout you out for giving us a shout out. Thanks so much for the support. It truly means a lot. And now back with the show. Down the road, you'll be able to kind of see those things. But this is a tool we also love to use. It's called seats.aero, and you can search from a points perspective. And you can see, right, when you start to search this out, you can do so many different filters from kind of anywhere you're going. But for us, since we're in Charlotte and American, we just wanted to see this. And then these different programs are those transfer partners that I had mentioned. But this is another great tool for searching points and miles, and you'll see that it shows like how much it'll be direct and everything, which is nice. And then if this is how you're going to be able to find some of those business class flights and first class flights for different routes for anywhere you're going. So just wanted to share that. These are some ways to get over there, so you can fly in from Madrid to Barcelona from wherever you're flying into. A couple other things. Barcelona is an hour flight from Ibiza. This makes it great. You can also get there from Madrid. So if you are over there, I haven't been to Ibiza, but I know, a lot of people want to make an island trip when they're over there. Go, if you want to do that, check that out. Also, Mallorca is just a quick flight as well from Barcelona. You can get there too from Madrid. So wanted to share those because I think that's very important because if you're wanting to add in some islands, if you have more time and you want to do more than just Barcelona and Madrid, those are going to be really good options. And I know that's something that I definitely want to do. But once you get into Madrid, there's a couple different things you can do. So there are going to be, first when you're talking about staying somewhere, there is, if you've listened to our podcast, you know that we like Hyatts. So if you are trying to stay in places, there's a Hyatt Regency in Madrid, so you can stay there. But if you want to, I would say stay in the most central area of what you're trying to do. So if we pull up a map of Madrid, we stayed. So when you start to come into here, like just, I mean, the more central you are, the better. But we were staying like right in the dead center because that's going to make it super easy to then walk to all the different places. So that's always my suggestion. The more close you can stay, the better. If you're trying to pay on points, you can also go in and you can search, right? You could do Hyatt Madrid. And that's going to be dead center. So then you could search. So that's not a bad cash price, but then you also could search points wise, and you would be able to most likely find that it's not that expensive. But we'll just do that real quick. Points. So 20,000 points. And then you can also go in here and look at the points calendar. So that's obviously peak season. But if you start to move off, right, you'll see these are off peak, so you'll be able to get some really good deals. 20,000 points, you can transfer those over if you wanted. And there's also going to be other, there will be other Hyatts that you could search too. So just a quick walkthrough of that, just to show, you want to stay kind of central there. Once you're in Madrid, right? And we're talking about how to get there, where you can kind of bounce to. A couple things that you're gonna want to do once you're there is there's Puerta del Sol in the Grand V for architecture, and then shopping. So that's gonna be really good. You're gonna want to walk through Retiro Park, which there's this big palace. There's also different rowboats on the lake. And it's a nice walk. And we did that, and it's just there's no rush. That's just a nice, if you want to have a chill day, definitely go do that. You can also check out the Plaza de Cibeles fountain, and Plaza Mayor, and that's going to be good, but just an easy, if you're trying to do a quick walking day, one thing that you can do is also go from Plaza Mayor to Mercado da San Miguel to then the Royal Palace to then Plaza de España. And Plaza de España is going to be the main walking area. So that's definitely a must do. But Madrid's pretty walkable. There isn't, I mean, we everything that I just mentioned, most of that we were able to just walk and do in 2 days and just relax. So I would suggest 2 full days there, with a third day of, if you're able to catch a Real Madrid game, definitely do that. We did when I went to Madrid, it was peak summer, so what it wasn't in season, but we did do a tour of the stadium. So you'll definitely want to do the tour of the stadium. It's cool. You get to go into the locker room. You get to go onto the field. You get to just check out everything. And it's not just soccer, right? They have like the story of all the different sports teams of Real Madrid. So that's definitely something to do. But if you can catch a soccer game, definitely do that. Um, Personally, I like Barcelona better than Madrid. I think Madrid's great to have, 2 days, and it's a great place to to fly in and out of, because, right, you're going to have that direct access, but you also have direct access with the train if you want to go to the different if you don't want to go to Barcelona and you want to go just to the islands, that's a great stopping point to then fly there direct. You also can get up to the north. You also can go down to the south to get to Seville. So that's another thing. A lot of questions I always get are, where should I eat in Madrid? So I'm just going to list out a few names that we ate at and that I've also had friends recommend, and just some top places from doing some research. So the Mercado de San Miguel. So if you like oysters, croquettes, that's going to be a really good place. If you want to go to the world's oldest restaurant, we weren't able to get a reservation here just because we had six guys. But it has wood-fired suckling pig, and that's Sobrino de Botín. If you want to do a Michelin star restaurant, um, they have a tasting menu. It's your Spanish type food. It's going to be Cebo, and that's Cebo. And then if you like a late night snack, check out Chocolatito San Geni's, which is just churros and chocolate. And it's been around since before 1900. So pretty cool, pretty cool places to eat. When we went, it was six guys. It was over the summer. We didn't do as many nice restaurants. We kind of just went on the go when we were in Madrid. But we stayed in a really cool Airbnb that I'll also link in the show notes. It had a rooftop. It slept six people, and it was like right in the center. It had a two-story rooftop, so it had one big area where you could uh, lay out on chairs, and it also had a really cool rooftop that you could really see the in the city. So it was dead center. But if you're going with, you and your significant other, I always recommend, Hyatt's, just because you can pay with less amount of points. But check those out. Next, we'll hop over to Barcelona. So I think the first question I get is, how do you get from Madrid to Barcelona? Well, the beautiful thing is, if you've been to Europe, you know the train system and the rail is amazing. It's quick, right? You can get there in less than 3 hours, which is amazing, and you're paying not a lot of money. So my recommendation is just catching a train with whatever time works best for you. I know we caught an earlier train and that made, our lives easier. We were able to get a full day out of that. So booking, on Rail Europe, Renfe, Eurail, like these are all good things. So just look to see, what aligns with your schedule the best. So if we then come to Barcelona, so I'm gonna pull up this map. So when I've been to Barcelona, when I first went, I stayed more over here. So when you're thinking of Barcelona, you have right here, this is kind of the main center area. So you have Las Ramblas, which is the main strip that kind of walks through this area. So you have the Gothic Quarter. Down here is your main your main beach strip. So this is where all the nightclubs are. You have the W, which is a famous, if you've looked at a Barcelona map, you've probably seen that. So you have that. And then, this is where FC Barcelona plays. So there's actually a Hyatt, the Grand Hyatt, which is right there. And then you also have another Hyatt that's down here, Hotel Hyatt. So this is a little bit further from over here, but this is kind of the main area of the things that we're going to recommend you do. So, some of the main famous places that you're probably familiar with, if you've seen Barcelona or if you've been on Instagram, is you got Sagrada Familia. You also have Park Güell up here. So those are two things that you're going to want to do. You also have Gaudi's houses, which Casa Batilo, and Casa Mila. Those are two places that you're going to want to do. But for Sagrada Familia and for Park Güell, you're going to want to get there early. Sunrise, earlier before 10 a.m. just to beat those crowds because it gets crowded, especially during the summertime. So my recommendation would be get there early or set it for your itinerary to be later in the day. That's definitely something you're going to want to do. Um, and then you have, one day you're definitely want to just stroll down this main area. So the second time we stayed more right around here, and it was nice because we could walk all the way through here, come down to the beach clubs and whatnot. So I really like staying over here. But if you're paying with points, you also, you can look for the Hyatts, a couple other, like also we also have the IHG card. So, you could also there's this Kempton right here. There's the Intercontinental. So you're kind of more in the thick of things right here if you were to stay here. But it just depends on what hotel brand you're loyal to. If you just want to stay at an Airbnb, a Verbo, there's so many options. So just decide, what's most important to you. If you aren't staying at hotels with points, my recommendation is always try to stay in more of the thick of things because then you're not having to worry about transportation of getting there. You really can just walk and go do a lot of things. But you also can take the rail once you're there, and it's pretty easy to get around. They have everything colored and they have the main names of how to get there. So you can buy a rail pass right when you're there, just to get around to all these different destinations. That's the first time I went, I was taking the train pretty much everywhere we went. The second time we were more walking. So unless we were going to, places that were a little bit further from where we were staying, we took the train. So you're gonna, walking down Las Ramblas. There's the Gothic Quarter. There's the Barcelona Cathedral. You also have a market, and then you also can, if you want to, you can ride the cable car. So Montjuic, this is an amazing area. Like this is one of my favorite parts in Barcelona. You can see there's a lot going on, but there's this awesome, just when you get here, you'll see that there's like this awesome fountain that each night, I think it's during the summer, um, but it's Thursday to Sunday evenings. They do this really cool show when sunset goes down, and it's this massive fountain in a circle, and it's pretty cool. You got to check it out. But I love Montjuic because you climb up or you can take the cable. I like the climb, but there's the castle at the top and you get this awesome view over the city. And that's one of my favorite things in Barcelona. It's not as crowded as all the other places as like, Sagrada Familia, Park Güell, but it is very cool. So really love that. If you want to do another really cool view, it's Tibidabo. We didn't get to do that, but I read about it and heard it was very cool. You also can do a day trip up to the Montserrat Monastery for mountain scenery. I've had friends who have done that, and they said it was really cool. Um, if you're going during any time between April, May to shoulder season, September, October, weather's gonna be good. Obviously during the summer, but just coming to the beach and relaxing. I mean, it's awesome. And then if you're going there for the nightclubs, definitely go to Opium. That's a good one. That we saw cheat codes and French Montana back-to-back nights. So that was pretty cool. And then you also have, if you're going during the summer, they always have festivals. So check out what festivals are going on. One year when we went during the summer, we went to Barcelona Beach Festival, which was right here on the beach. It had people like Chainsmokers, David Guetta. Who else did it have? Don Diablo, and a couple other bigger names. Armin van Buuren. So there were a lot of different people, and it was a really cool lineup. Barcelona always has stuff going on, especially during the summer. So just check that out. And then, if you're a football fan, you obviously got to go to Camp Nou. I got the chance to go back in 2016, and I got to see Messi, Suarez, and Neymar play, and they ended up winning the match 6-1. So the place was going wild. That's a like bucket list thing you have to do. So if you're a big soccer fan, I highly suggest before you plan your trip, look to see when they are playing and plan it around that. Same thing with Real Madrid, if you're a fan there. And if you get lucky enough and you can see both them play, that would be pretty cool. Um, a couple places that I would recommend to check out to eat. And since I went in 2016 and 2018, um, some of the places that we ate may not be around anymore. There was a pretty cool burger bar when you're walking up towards the beach, just down the main strip, um, right to the right that you have to check out. I can't recall the name, but a couple places just from doing a little bit of research. Um, One is a Michelin three-star. It's a world top 10 restaurant. It's called Disfrutar. And that's top 10 restaurant. So you got to check that out. If you want good tapas, you have Quimet and Quimet. And then you also have yeah, Bodega Biarritz, 1881. So that's right off La Ramblas. But you can really, and then you also have Cow Pep, which is bar counter seafood, and you're going to want to arrive early there. But those are just different places, just from doing some research on TripAdvisor and just some other places, which they highlighted that those are going to be good. And the best thing is if you're just walking around, there's so many different places to eat. So I would just say do some of your research now, since some of those places have changed over the years. But I absolutely recommend Barcelona. It's one of my favorite cities. You can catch, a game. You can catch it's very easily walkable. Like definitely do Montjuic. Definitely go down the beach. Definitely go to some of the places that I recommended, because those are going to be great. And if you need to get tickets beforehand, check on TripAdvisor, check on Get Your Guide by Ador if you want to get skip the line tickets, and we'll also make sure to share those in the show notes. Um, and that's pretty much it. I mean, they're both great. I highly recommend it. Easy to get to. And if you have any questions or if you want us to dive into more how to pay with points, we're happy to do that, because I think that's, but it is one of those countries that paying cash to get there, it's not super expensive, especially, $400 or $500 for a direct flight. That's kind of what you're paying in the States. And then once you get there, the dollar, it's the euro, so the exchange rate, it isn't too crazy expensive. But that's all we got. If there's any feedback you have, any questions, anything else you'd like to learn more of in future itineraries, let us know. But wanted to, get you started here with our summer series for some starter itineraries. And just this is the first one, but a couple other ones we're going to be having, and we're going to launch these every 2 weeks. This summer we're also going to do London, since we went when we went to Barcelona, Madrid back in 2018. We'll be doing London. We'll also be doing Amsterdam. Been to Amsterdam twice, so excited to share that one. We'll also be doing Budapest and Prague, because we combined those in a summer trip. We'll also be doing Croatia, so Dubrovnik and Split, since we did that in another summer trip. So those are going to be some of the summer series that I'll be diving into. And then we'll also be doing Germany, because we went in late September to that, and we actually went for Oktoberfest. And I know those are a lot of places that when people are starting to travel, they're pretty easily accessible. So we'll be showing, how to get there, what to do, same type of thing. We'll be doing some examples of using points. And then we're going to do some deep dive use cases with some people who have asked, like, "Hey, I want to go here. How do I use points?" So we're going to hop on a screen share with them, walk them through, some of their dates, what we would do, just to make it easy, so you can start to ask the same questions of, okay, now that I know I want to go there and I know what I need to do, what maybe are some good points and miles tips and tricks for those. So excited to share those, and then we'll be diving into Ireland, and then towards the fall we'll be going more into our snowboarding series for people who like to snowboard and ski, for places like Colorado, because I've been everywhere in Colorado besides Telluride. So we'll be able to give you those, how I would strategize if I was using the Icon Pass or Epic Pass, and then we'll go into Whistler, Lake Tahoe, as well as Park City, Jackson Hole, Big Sky. So kind of all the big places in the States that, if you like to snowboard or if you always dreamed of going there, like I've been and can share my tips and tricks, how to get the best passes, where to stay, all that good stuff. So excited to launch off this series. If you haven't checked out the Turks and Caicos one or the Portugal series, we have a mini series around Portugal. It's a full itinerary that we went for 2 weeks, but also I break down specific days of Lisbon, 3 days, Algarve, so the south coast of Portugal, 3 days, Porto for 3 days, the Azores Islands for 6 days. So do those specific breakdowns. Also have one on Costa Rica. So we want to try to share, our knowledge, our lessons learned, what to do, what not to do. Some of these were prior to COVID in 2020, so there won't be as many probably best tips and tricks on restaurants just because some of those may have changed, but we're going to help you out from a logistical standpoint, where to stay, what to do, lessons learned, and all of that. So appreciate everyone tuning in. If you did love this episode, make sure you share it with a friend or family member. That way we can, continue to grow the show and help more people travel. If you're a first-time listener, make sure you give us a follow or subscribe. That way you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. And if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give us a 5-star review. That helps us grow the show and keep this going to help you travel more. We'll see you next week.